All right, now that we've got a little bit cooler heads based off of yesterday, we've been able to take things in, rewatch the game, maybe look at stats, watch some all 22. Who's to blame for yesterday's loss, Ryan? And it may be different than what you thought initially, but looking back on it, who's to blame for the two-game skid? Who's to blame specifically yesterday? Where's your head at with this one?
Honestly, I feel the same way I felt yesterday. I think the blame goes around widely. Let's start at the beginning. I think the beginning it starts with Kyle Shanahan. Um, Kyle Shanahan is. We've been saying this for weeks. He's too dependent on CMC. He needs to be more diverse in his approach. Be more creative. That's what he's known for, and you're not seeing it this year. It's all CMC. That's the main problem for me. Next thing is Trent Williams injured. That's a big problem for the 49ers. It cripples the run game. The 49ers run game is honestly mid without Trent Williams. Trent Williams is so key in the run game. You think it would be protection, but it's really the run game. And then after that, CMC fumble. Second time he's fumbled in the red zone, approaching a touchdown and a score. So we got to go to CMC there. Then Wilkes play calling. I don't really understand it. Closing out the half, you basically leave Travis Ward on an island when all you have to do is stop them, make a tackle, and the clock goes down to 0, and the 49ers probably win this game. And then towards the end of the game, it comes down to Brock Purdy turning the ball over twice at the end of the game. When you need him the most, he completely folded back-to-back interceptions. So that's how I see the blame going around. It goes to all of those guys.
Yeah, it really, I mean, when you look back on things, it's easy, just like last week, right? It was very easy to say, well, Jake Moody. I mean, as bad as this was the conversation last week from a lot of people. As bad as Brock played, when he needed it most, he did what he needed to do, and Jake Moody couldn't come through. Well, I could say the same thing this week. As bad as things looked defensively, when they needed to, they locked down and gave Brock Purdy a chance, and he just couldn't come through. Like, you see how ridiculous it sounds when you just put it on one person? There was so much that happened throughout that game. The first half was the defense couldn't stop anything. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't get off the field. Nothing. I mean, it was bad. They got the first stop to start the game, and then after that, it was like the floodgates opened up. Second half, they locked down pretty decent, actually. The run game completely got nullified. They only gave up 6 points. Like, it looked better, but then the offense couldn't get it going consistently. So it's this back and forth. And ultimately, I agree. I mean, if I can't blame one person, it really is 2 games in a row that are ultimate team losses, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle Shanahan has to be held accountable if we're holding anybody accountable. I know today it seems like the narrative is let's go after Wilkes. But reality is, when you look at the defense and what they've done the last 2 weeks, yes, they've given up a lot of yards and time of possession and all those things. Not great. I'm not saying that they don't get any blame, but they're only giving up 20.5 points a game in the last 2 games, which would put them middle of the pack, literally 16th in the league if we're going off of league averages and what they give up. But the offense has only scored 17 a game, and that's including with 3 starts in the opponent's territory based off of defensive turnovers. They were only able to cash in on one of those 3 drives. And right now, if you take that 17 points, that would put them around 28th in the league in scoring. So it goes both ways. Like, the offense isn't getting it done either. The defense isn't as dominant as what we're used to. They're about middle of the pack the last 2 weeks, but the offense went from being top to literally near the bottom of the league. And a lot of that goes back to Kyle. I mean, it's just what it is.
Honestly, I feel like there's plenty of blame to go around for all 3 factions. Yeah. This 49ers team, the defense, they deserve blame. The special teams, they deserve blame. The offense deserves blame. The quarterback, the coach, like, they all have a part in this. None of them look like they're on their stuff. Although I will say Brock Purdy actually looked really good. I thought he was having a great game for the first 3 quarters, and then he just crapped a bed at the end. So there's a lot of blame to go around, and we can dive in deeper as we go throughout the show. But there's a lot of blame to go around. It's not just one side or the other, or one coach or one player. It's the entire team.
No, most definitely not. And I think, I remember putting out a tweet before the season started, and I said, I refuse to put this season on Brock Purdy. Like, I just do. If they don't win a Super Bowl, the easy thing is going to say the quarterback, or Steve Wilkes. I know that Coach said that the scapegoat of this team would be Steve Wilkes. I think both of them are kind of getting half and half. Meanwhile, Kyle's just flying under the radar again as if he's not the head coach,
Right.
and he doesn't get enough credit, I think, when the defense does really well because he is the head coach and he's choosing who the defensive coordinator is and he can override things. And we've seen him do that. So I don't think he gets enough credit of how good this defense has been in Kyle Shanahan, but I also don't think he gets enough blame when the defense isn't great. It does go both ways. So he deserves more credit when they're doing good, and he deserves more blame when they're not doing so great. So
Yeah, and in regards to this defense, man, while we're on it, I feel like overall this defense has been pretty good throughout the year. And like you said, they gave up 22 points. Now Wilkes made some disastrous play call decisions. Did you watch? And also here, this is key. Did you watch Bosa's press conference last night? Did you have a chance to do that?
I didn't know.
So this really really struck me when I was watching it. He was talking about how, he basically said we're usually a rush 4 team, and was basically saying that the way Wilkes is dialing up blitzes is hindering their ability to get to the quarterback, hindering the defensive back's ability to protect against the passing game. So it seemed like a little shot at Wilkes, to be honest, right? Like he's saying we're typically a rush 4 team. Like basically, why are we calling these blitzes? And I think he's kind of blaming that on like his ability to get to the quarterback as well as them giving up all these passing yards. It seemed like an indirect shot at Wilkes, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll get home.
Yeah.
One thing I keep hearing is, oh, we need to add another pass rusher. BS.
No.
What do you mean we need to add another pass rusher? They've got like 70 million a year sunk into 3 guys
Right.
on that defensive line. They need to be elite as is. You don't get the defensive player of the year, then go sign the number 1 interior free agent, have a guy like Armstead making the money that he's making and say, oh, we need more. No, you have enough. I'm tired of we need more. They have enough to win. They just do. They're not getting it done, period. You can put the blame on whoever you want, but the common theme here is they are not getting the job done the last 2 weeks. They're just not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you parse the blame how you want, but the theme is they are not getting it done. And also the theme is they have enough to get it done. So figure it out.
Right. And that's the thing. I think Bosa's point is, it's a balance. Well, getting to the quarterback is a balance, right? You can go after the quarterback hard as hell if you want, but the receivers are open and the quarterback can get rid of it, then you're not going to get home. So I think Bosa's point is, we need to drop back more guys into coverage, stop blitzing so much so we can get some coverage, a little help with the coverage and get some coverage sacks as well. Buy us more time so we can get to the quarterback. I think that's what Bosa's point was. And I honestly think I might agree, but overall, Wilkes is doing good. The 49ers defense this year, they're trending 42.5 sacks overall. Well, going into yesterday's game, I didn't check it out this morning, but going into yesterday's game, they were trending 42.5 sacks. I believe last year they had 44. So that's pretty close. They're trending 28 and a half interceptions, which is way over the 20 that they got last year. Their numbers are not very bad compared to last year. So overall, I think this defense is playing well. Wilkes is playing well, but he's got to fine tune it. He's got to drop guys back into coverage. That's not what this team does. They got the guys that can attack with 4. They don't need to be blitzing, especially going into the halftime when all you need to do is run down the clock.
The scary thing is they're playing this soft coverage that you talk about, that Joel talks about here. They haven't even played an elite receiver yet, Ryan.
I know.
Not a single one.
Can you imagine Justin Jefferson was there last night?
They got Chase coming up. They've got Seattle twice and their receivers. They've got the Eagles. I mean, it's not going to get easier. They have not played an elite receiver yet, and they got plenty coming up on that schedule with quarterbacks that can get him the ball and make him pay a little bit. So it's not looking great.